this tweeted out so everybody can join in here. 1 second. All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. All right, well, I hope everybody had a great trading day today. So I adjusted my broadcaster settings here on the microphone. It seems to all right. Well, I hope pretty loud. So I just I turned down the mic volume a little bit. So hopefully that helps a little bit, guys. I was going back and checking a couple. Like, wow, that's really loud. So somebody made a rude comment also a couple weeks ago about it. So anyways, but that being said, today we're going to take a look at key sectors, and we're going to be continuing this series on key sectors with the IWM, so the small caps. So we're going to be taking a look at those in a little bit here. But before we get started, everything we're going to talk about is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. So please take a moment to review this disclaimer. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good, good, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see where we left off with the market here today, and then we're going to take a look at the futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening, and then we're going to take a look at the topic, and then we'll take questions and chart requests. So let's get started. All right, so SPX ended up closing here over the upper Bollinger Band. We're still not done with the month here, but we finished the day. This is actually the last week of the month, which is kind of interesting here, and they're pushing it up pretty nicely. A couple parallels that we've been making here to the Corona crash, right? We also had a similar upper shadow here the month before the Corona crash at the upper Bollinger Band, right? And the next month we pushed above it, just like we've done right here, except that month really, that monthly candle really pushed below it, right? And the price action you can see warranted lower off of that, right? But so far we're still above it. It still could turn into a dual candle, in the next 2 trading days of the month, but we'll see how that goes here going into the rest of the month. So in the meantime, we've taken the dark cloud cover candle and pushed it up so far with a hammer. Again, 2 more weeks left to try to completely get to all-time highs and go from there. So guys, every night we've been talking about this this wave count, right? So in fact, that's what we do all the time anyway, just to try to track, see where we are at the market, right? So this last pullback right here looked like a wave 4 pullback. We saw the subwave 1 pullback. This looks like ABC is done, right? And we got to the wave 2 pullback right here. Now we've closed above the ADMA, right? And it looks like things are working their way up, right? So let's continue to ride this wave and see if we can get a nice wave 3 up, right? It actually takes us up to, I think if you just do a 1.618 extension here, off of from the subwave 1 to the subwave 2 pullback, right? The 1.618 takes us all the way up to 42.11, right, to finish up this wave 3. So we could be seeing a lot of upside left in this market before this wave 5 is finished. So definitely something to keep an eye on there. Let's take a look at the intraday price action here today. So I mean, today was all about the SPX. I mean, it was just super strong today, right? So we have some techniques that got us long here in the group here today a couple different times. So this gave us a nice ride up right here on the SPX. Very, very strong market today. Again, we've been talking about sectors. So, the S&P 500, the market is strong, right? We look for relative strength in names and look to ride those waves up as well, right? So, so some good stuff there. But that was basically it, right? We had a strong close above the 50-month high. It was a little bit sketchy in the beginning, but then once we got going above the ADMA, it was just go time, right? So it was really impressive stuff there today. Let's take a look at the S&P futures and see what we're up to or down to here this evening. And so, so let's see. So we've got the ES. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys, moving something around here. All right, cool. Yeah, so the ES, like I said, this was part of our game plan today from the bubble report this morning. We talked about the need to get over the overnight highs and stay above it, right? So we needed to get some consolidation right here, and this is good, right? So this was actually very, very constructive for the market here today. We paused for a little bit, then we pushed. We got over this level right here. Our target today was actually the VPOC, and then we had a poor high, which I didn't actually put in here, but that was an important level here for us to get above today. So that was another one too. We talked about that in the bubble report here this morning, and then we ended up riding the ADMA up here and got to a 216 VPOC here after hours. So again, we're finding a little bit of resistance off this level right now, so we'll see how it goes going into the evening. But like I said, we're not that far from all-time highs, guys. But it doesn't really seem like, we just did a series on navigating all-time highs, and the first one was on Elliott Wave. It doesn't really seem like this all-time high is really such a big deal if you look at how high Wave 3 might go up to that 4,200 area. So we got plenty of space above. Again, at this point now, we may see a couple little corrective moves that, the bears will get all over again. So we'll see how they go here going into this evening and where we set up going into tomorrow. So good stuff. So again, guys, this week, we've been talking about key sectors, and today we're going to be talking about the IWM. So what's the IWM? So the IWM is the ETF, right, based on the Russell 2000. So the cool part about the Russell 2000 that's different than the S&P 500 is that it has 2,000 names in it, right? So a little bit different, right? In fact, 4 times as different than the S&P 500, right? So this is what we call the small caps, right? So the Russell 2000 is typically kind of your smaller companies, or your smaller capitalization companies, names that aren't as huge as like your juggernaut valuations, right? Your Apple. Your mega cap companies, right? So this is kind of like I kind of look at it as like your small businesses, right? So something like that, right? So but again, they're still publicly traded companies, so they're more than a small business, but they're the smaller businesses, right? So altogether, this makes a really interesting index, and this index is really sensitive to what the banks do, and why is that? So the thing is that the weighting on this is a lot different than the S&P, right? So the S&P is really kind of weighted more favorably, like we said, to names like the big names like Apple, the FANG names, Facebook, Google, Amazon, right? High weightings, especially in the tech sector, right? So we talked about that, but the IWM is a little bit more balanced. However, it does have sector weightings because it has 2,000. So there's like no one name on there that is Apple, making up like 5% of the entire market, right? But it does have sectors, right? So we talked about, to start out this week, we talked about the XLF, right, and how important the financials are for the market. Well, the financial sector is actually the highest weighted sector in the Russell 2000, right? And so the financials, right? So that's why if the banks are going up, right? A lot of times the IWM moves in tandem with it, right? So one thing that we talked about the other day, right, was we talked about adding the comparison study, right? So one things we can do is we could add the XLF to this, and you can kind of see that as the banks go, right, so goes the IWM. So an IWM is an interesting one to trade, right? So but we've seen a lot of relative strength in it right here. There's some relative strength in the XLF for sure, but we saw some nice movement here in the IWM, right? You can see they kind of move almost in parallel. There's also a couple other cool sectors in this as well. There's they have healthcare is really heavily weighted in the IWM. So a couple of the big names that are in this sector, and also the 14% of the sector is technology, right? So when we look at that, when we see strength in the IWM, like I said, we want to go to some names, but a lot of this, since they're not as heavily weighted, they're not as good. But the IWM is strong, right? We can look at names like the highest weighted name right now in the entire IWM is Plug. Right? Isn't that interesting, right? So that's one of the technology names that's really strong. Another one that's super strong, guys, is Penn. And this, that's Penn. Yeah, Penn National Gaming. This is a huge IWM stock, and look how much this has moved, right? So, do you think the sector helped out a little bit with this thing going? I know this is has been such a strong name this year, but the IWM has been really strong in this last recovery, right? So this is a really, really impressive move. A really, really impressive move since the Corona crash. Look at how much look how much it went up here. But you go back and you look how much the IWM went up, right? So look at that. So you kind of see that movement right there. A lot of times you can go to the those highest weighted names, right? And again, like we said, some of the healthcare names are the highest weighted too. Look at the NVAX. This is one of the highest weighted names on there as well. Well, you think that this NVAX, right, was a good one to keep an eye on after the Corona crash? Right? It's all about vaccines, right? So, as the IWM goes up, this is probably, one of the good go-to names to look at, right? So pretty cool stuff there. And that's why I like looking at these sectors. They really kind of key you into some of the really key names that are out there, and help give us clues also into to sectors and how they're influencing each other. So if the financial is strong, right, the IWM is strong. If the IWM is strong, right, then some of its key names might be strong, like Penn National Gaming, Novavax, Plug, right, and it's got a couple other ones in there too that are pretty interesting as well. So good stuff. So that's the IWM here tonight, guys, and hopefully you guys found that helpful. And at this point, if you guys have any questions or chart requests, please feel free to plug those in the chat window, and we'll get through as many as we can and try to wrap up as early as possible so we can all get a good night's sleep and have another awesome trading day tomorrow. So good stuff. So Dylan sent a few in here via Twitter. So we got AXGN. So AXGN looking pretty interesting right here. We have an inside day on this one. It's definitely been trending its way up. Almost looks like a big channel here. So definitely something to keep an eye on, right? It's been bouncing off this channel here pretty consistently. So see how it holds. We're getting to the top of the channel right here. Inside day. See if it tags the top there. Look for any sort of shooting star candle where it may want to come back down and test the bottom of the channel. SDC. This thing has been prone to really sharp up moves and sharp down moves, right? So this is another channel mover right here, right? So you have this and you have this, right? So here, the bottom of the channel, right? higher level. Bottom of the channel for nice bells. Top of the channel for nice. And we're just off of the bottom of the channel right here, heading into earnings. So let's see if that pattern ends up holding up through that. FSLY, let's take a look. FSLY hanging in there, guys. Like we said, a lot of these names had some pretty big recoveries yesterday. Today was all about seeing what had relative, what had follow through, right? So FSLY is one of those names that just didn't follow through today. So that's a little bit of caution, right? Especially if we run into any weakness, right? So keep an eye on the inside day. See how those levels hold, and if we break out one way or the other. Again, if it is still trying to work on an impulsive wave up, see how it handles that gap. Like I said, this might be an area of resistance off of the 382 for FSLY. And then LFMD, let's take a look. Yeah, so LifeMed just kind of hanging in here, right? We had 3 days in a row, and another upper shadow here off its fresh 80 base. So see that holds on LifeMed. So good stuff there. Appreciate it, Dylan. Shirley sent a few in via email, so let's take a look at a couple of the meme names here today. Again, end of the day, guys, it was all about game stonk and a couple of those other meme names, right? So again, all these names just got really perky again. So I'd be really careful with this, Shirley. It might have popped up on a scanner that you have with the volume and the breakout. But this is a really risky name to trade, right? It's up after hours here, crazy again. Again, this is just one of those names, one of those crazy meme names. Now, Boeing must have just gotten squeezed out today. This thing was epic today. I mean, just incredible. I mean, there's no news on this thing. I mean, they're being investigated by the FAA. They just had a engine catch on fire and wreck over Denver this weekend, right? Bullish. So, but really, probably a lot of folks are trying to short this thing and got caught off guard here today with the market as strong it was, and just covered it and just ended up being a big move there for Boeing. So again, another short squeeze name right there. Pretty interesting. MA, some pretty epic moves here again, guys. Like we said, the XLF has been really strong, but the XLF is not just banks, right? The credit card names are on here too, right? So MasterCard, again, big breakout candle here today. Fresh highs, increased volume. Pretty epic stuff. ADP. Again, this is another one, right? So data processing, right? This is a big one as well. Keep an eye on this one too, with any sort of payroll numbers, things like that, right? Tomorrow's jobs day. So see how that goes. But a nice breakout candle on this one as well. And what else? And SNDL. Let's take a look. So Sundial. This has been a pretty popular one as well. This is one of the pot names. A lot of the pot names got strong after hours today, and at the end of the day too, with the other meme stocks, right? Tilray. That's up here, and that looks like it's working its way up after hour. Grug a little bit up, so that's pretty good. So, but other than that, guys, keep an eye on these names on the pot names too going in tomorrow. Great stuff, Shirley. Really appreciate it. Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. Possible doji sandwich on CCL. So again, guys, the cruise lines are really big, and the airlines are also big on the IWM as well. They're just companies that are kind of out there, right? So these cruise lines, pretty interesting stuff, right? Carnival ended up getting some more liquidity, and it could be a potential doji sandwich on it, right? But it also could be a reversal doji, so we have to be careful with it and see where we open tomorrow, what kind of strength we have. Keep an eye on the IWM tomorrow too to see if we can give any tailwind on that one. The QS, again, guys, another day, rough day yesterday, upper shadow of the 50-day today, so just kind of keep an eye on that inside day range. And then Tilray, yeah, okay, good. We were just talking about that. So Tilray is another one, guys. We saw a lot of evening star reversals today. It's rare to see this many at one time, right? So because we had that gap down yesterday, and then as long as we close 50% of the range of that first candle, right, you got yourself an evening star reversal. Now, this is a powerful setup, right? I think it's got like some sort of high 60 percentile follow through. A lot of times they do pull back and get going. But again, see if we can gap up over the 80 MA here on Tilray. Maybe get some algos buying on that one. It'd be good stuff. Cloud Guy, what's going on? Good to see you. Let's take a look at MANH. Okay, yeah, Manhattan Associates here. You got a nice inside day off of this one. Just not really doing much after hours here, so see if that gets any follow through the upside. I don't like it below the 80 MA, but again, let's see if we can try to get its way back above it. AYX, this thing, guys, this is amazing, right? Remember this consolidation zone? It loves this zone. Right? Remember it had that big gap down off of earnings, right? It's like, oh, we got out of it, back down again. Up out of it, back down again. Up out of it, back down again. So this is a really important level. I'd like to see at least get over the 80 MA and try to get out of this zone again. Again, pretty wild name there. Sorry, guys, a little bit of hiccups today. So SOS, let's take a look. SOS, interesting here with an inside day below the 80 MA. So just kind of keep an eye on that. Struggling a little bit right there. And then EBON, let's take a look. E-bang. So yeah, so good stuff right there. Again, guys, we're mostly looking at this as a bearish move, looking for that potential retrace. Right now, it is off of the is basically still just holding on to the 886. So again, guys, see how it holds right here, but look for a potential retrace off of these levels. So again, watch that upper shadow too. Upper shadow off the 80MA on that one. Excuse me. All right, David, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Let's take a look at XNet. Yeah, so XNet again, try to dig its way up into the gap here today, and struggled a little bit here, still below the 80MA on that one, so see if we can get above there. And we've got, yeah, Cloud got my pleasure, David. Yeah, MViz, let's take a look. So let's see, MViz. Hanging in there, got the gap fill here today and ended up still closing green, so that's a good thing. It's back over the 80MA, so let's see if we can get some volume. This one, see if that one's ready to get going. Could be interesting right there. So Reed, I know, it's like, who can be rude? I know, exactly. So, you know, just trolls. So it's all good. See, what's going on? PLTR, let's take a look. So PLTR, inside day again. So keep an eye and see how it holds these levels, right? At this point now, it's tough to really gauge what kind of wave count it is since it invalidated the first wave up. Right, so if anything, that could be working on a larger way. Just kind of keep an eye on these levels here, the recent lows, and then see how it handles this inside day range. It could be a chopper for a while here too, so I'd just be a little bit careful with that one. CCIV with a nasty pullback, guys. Doji sandwich to the downside, right? Big gap down, Doji, and look at that, it reversed right back down. So, so pretty nasty stuff there on CCIV with the Doji sandwich move. Apple, let's take a look. Apple Dapple, again, chopping around right here. Again, still below the downward trend line with an inside day hanging out at the cloud, right? So so just kind of continue to keep it on the radar, see if we can get back over that trend line or not. Atos, so this thing kind of choppy right here. Got into the gap a little bit and then pulled back. OPTT, nice gap fill on that one. And again, similarly closed green. And then IGOV. Decent move there, right? Nice try on this on the Treasury Group, guys. Some news today? How about that? About like the Fed basically shutting down like a power outage and stuff like that. That's pretty. I was expecting a little more of a reaction out of the market on that, but really nothing. It's like, okay, no money's going out to banks or anything. This is normal. So anyway, interesting stuff right there, right? So we'll see if that ends up getting a little more ramification into the market too. Maybe it's because Powell was out of the office today. So anyway, we'll see how it goes. Mike, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at that AMD. So AMD with an evening star reversal, right? So it's got a chance, right? I mean, you're saying there's a chance, right? So we got a nice hammer candle yesterday off of this. We got the evening star reversal up. Let's see if we can get over that 80MA and then try to get out of this cloud again. And good grief, this thing's been a struggle here all month, up and down. So good stuff, David. Yeah, XONE. Let's take a look. XONE with a doji here under the 80MA, so a little bit of caution there. Let's see if we can get back over the 80MA on that one. Reed, what's going on? Let's take a look. You got two good companies right here. You got Ford. It don't care, right? What Corona crash? Everything is awesome. Everything is awesome. This one did get hit though. In fact, you can imagine, right, with people not going out a lot, right, that the auto industry would be heavily affected. They don't care, right? Still continue to work. People buying cars anyway. So, so Ford ended up, working its way up right here. Increased volume over the geometric line, right? Basically a bull flag up. So, I mean, here's your flag, pull. Here's your measured move up, right? So see if this thing can work its way up here to the 1275 level off of that flag breakout. Nice stuff there. And then GM. GM's kind of doing a little bit other type stuff, right? So we kind of have this double top-ish type look to it right here. So a little bit of caution off of that one. Watch the rules of 3, right? If it can't, if it breaks down a third time, a triple top can be pretty risky there. But we'll see how it goes. GM's, it has been pretty interesting. They're trying to get into the electric vehicle space, and electric vehicle stuff's been pretty hot. So it still could work its way up there. So Michael, GME halted into the close. Epic. I mean, this thing is just wild here. I mean, look at that. It hit 200 again after hours. I mean, it's incredible. 4x move after hours and halted into the close. Where is this thing going to open up tomorrow? Nobody knows. So again, but how about being halted in that before tomorrow? Just wild stuff. Incredible. It's like, how does it happen all over again? It really needs stuff. Bob, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, let's take a look at BLNK. Yeah, so BLNK, also a nice move here today. Not quite an evening star reversal, but it did push its way up to fill the gap. So definitely keep an eye on these names here to see if they get any relative strength and want to get going. And then SPCE, let's take a look. So SPCE, again, Not as nice, but still okay as it's trying to eat its way into the gap here too. Again, a couple of these names got a couple pops here too, the ones that were recently shorted on all those meme stocks. So pretty good stuff there. I know. Yeah, exactly. Michael Paul, Boeing. I know, worth watching for days like this. I know, exactly, guys. So thanks, Michael. So anybody who's new here, be sure to go back on our show for the Elliott Wave Show, where Paul had a overall bullish wave count here on Boeing. Really impressive stuff. And Oxy was pretty epic today, too. Again, guys, the strongest sectors at the open were the banks and the oil names, right? And oil really got a move today, too. And Oxy was one of my favorites going into today. It's just a nice ADMA ride right here. Good volume on this candle, right, to kind of top off the day. And turn into a triangle. Might still get some more movement on that. Really incredible stuff. Wenji, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks so much. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate the kind words. Michael, yeah, an FSR. I know, this thing was epic today. This thing's epic. I mean, it really was. I mean, 10% move, up 38% today. This thing can move. I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, I looked at it this morning and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, just what was the reason for its gap? What was it? I mean, other than the Foxconn collaboration. Yeah, I saw it this morning and didn't really pay much attention to it, but this thing really did move. Incredible stuff right there. Nice little flag breakout right there. And then a nice push to the upside. So, but again, it was up this morning, right? Triangle here, got real tight, low volume, and then the volume start coming in again, right? So really nice stuff there on the FSR. Incredible, actually. So good stuff there. So good. ZEK, Snow, let's take a look. So Snow, yeah, got a little bit perky into the end of the day too. Not quite an evening star reversal, but it made a shot at it. Right, so good stuff there. Ford, really nice stuff. Great minds thinking alike out there. Nice breakout. Again, look to see if it can get up to that 1275 level. XOM, again, oil name strong. Doji sandwich up. You got to love it. So Michael, what's going on? So you sold NVAX so early it's a bit. I know, right? It was at 10. Oh, I know. And this is like, right, and isn't that funny? I mean, it's $300. But how scary was it trading this thing back in the day, right? Right before, like, right at the Corona crash, right? When things were going down, it's like, oh, okay, $20. Okay, it doubled and all. I mean, $300. I mean, even here, right? Even selling at 180 seems like a weak sell, doesn't it? Look at that. Boom. 331. Incredible. So, wild name. It's all good, man. It all happens. It happens. So, Laura, what's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're doing great. Let's take a look at Piton. Yeah, so Piton, let me get a couple. We were looking at this one here today. It looked like it was setting up for an intraday harmonic, and then it just kind of, it went without me, so it just kind of went. Oops. Let me see. I had a lot. Oh, those are from the harmonics. Yeah, I'll show you here intraday. I was looking for a potential butterfly pattern, right? So I was looking for an 886 pullback right here, and it never happened. It may be trying to work on a bigger move, but it's just so choppy into the close. So I'm just going to look for intraday setups on this tomorrow if it gets gets going. Really tricky here, Laura. I mean, a lot of names today, like we said, we had a lot of hammers yesterday, and it was really the ones that really are standing out are making evening star reversals. Ones that don't stand out like this, if the market's weak or we see any downside action, look for maybe more downside follow through. I mean, it's kind of what we're seeing right here. And a lot of the stay-at-home names are generally pretty weak today, so a little bit of caution off of that one. Michael, AG, oh yeah, I forgot about Silver. Is Silver getting a move here too? Yeah, AG making a move after hours right here, and I forgot that Silver was a meme name too. Yeah, they tried it a little bit after. That's a tough one to get to squeeze, but it's a little bit different. So good stuff there. So, oh yeah. So watch out for Roblox direct listing March 10th. Thank you. Oh, I know. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Michael, I must have funded at least a quarter of their earnings on that one, right? So definitely keep an eye on Roblox for sure. That thing is that they're 100% profit. If they have any even hint at being unprofitable, I won't believe it for a second. But anyway, good stuff there. So when will Hexo go up? Let's take a look. When will Hexo go up? I mean, it's trying. It's trying, right? You had a nice hammer yesterday. It's just got to get above that ADMA. Let's just go. Ron, what's going on? Going to see a plug. We just plugged today as the highest weighting on the IWM. Not quite an evening star reversible. Let's see if we can get over the 50-day and then the 5-day here on plug. And then Blnk, this is another epic one too. Again, nice gap fill today. Let's see if we can get any momentum off of that. And then SE, a pretty epic one recently too out of this channel. It was channeling for a long time, and then it broke out of the channel. Anytime you guys see these big green breakouts out of channels, right, like CCIV, right, which Michael brought to all of our attention months ago, right, it gave a nice move up right there and kind of back into the channel range there. But still got to chop in, right, so see if we get back over the 80 man if this thing really wants to get going, right? So it's basically holding that bump line for now. So good stuff. So Thierry, what's happening? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Neo, let's take a look. So NEO, again, gap fill on this one as well, right? So this is kind of an interesting one. It was looking a little bit bearish here this morning. Again, it was looking bearish yesterday. Lots of dip buys on this one. It's got earnings coming up pretty soon, right? March 1st. So let's see if it's gearing up for an earnings run on that one. And then, of course, you've got the LAC, so lithium. Yep, there you go. Some more battery stuff. This is a great one to look at, too, on that. Love it. Good stuff there. James, what's going on? Well, what should I hear at 300% tomorrow? Yeah, well, let's see. GME was one I would have mentioned today if you asked a little bit earlier. But tomorrow we'll have to see. I mean, just what kind of crazy names we got going on into the day tomorrow. But probably something with a low float and a high short float. So it's gonna be interesting right there. So SUAG, the IGOV was 199.99.9, and then 52 weeks high. I just wish you had a couple. I don't. Exactly. So, John, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, CCL. We took a look at this a little bit earlier, but happy to take a look here. So, again, one of the things that we're looking at, Mike was looking at this here earlier, too. See how it handles this doji. It's a real important candle here, right? It had some great strength yesterday, a huge push up. It couldn't get any follow through today. So, see if it turns into a doji sandwich and look for some relative strength on it. Otherwise, if we get some weakness on it, we may come back and, test 50% of the range of this candle, right? So, that's something to look at there, too. Okay, good stuff, Sean. Yeah, Baba. Let's take a look again. I've got kind of the lots of inside days off of the Chinese names going into today, so just kind of keep an eye on those tomorrow. There might be they might give us a little bit of action, so let's see what they give us in the morning if we get any sort of gap on that after the Asian market is kind of done its thing. And Ali Fubo, yeah, not as much strength as we would have liked to have seen, but it is hanging on to the 50 days, so that's a good thing. And then SNDL, this is another one too. Again, big move up after hours, right? So on SNDL. Again, the pot sector looking pretty good too. In fact, I didn't look at Fubo after hours. It's got a little bit of a pop after hours to see if you can get some follow through on that one. So, Michael, yeah, exactly. I know, yeah. Roblox is epic, so good stuff there. No, James, I know. I was just playing. I know. So I was like, yeah, just try GameStop, right? So just try. Looks good. It looks good for a 300% move. So, anyway, good stuff, guys. Awesome. Well, awesome chart requests, guys. I always appreciate the chart requests and the questions, and I hope everybody had a good time tonight. This has been a fun series here talking about sectors. If you're new here, definitely click subscribe on YouTube. We do this every market night. Not only do we do this, but we've got lots of other great topics on our YouTube channel about the market. And we also go, if you hit the notification button or you follow us on Twitter, we post videos in the morning for the Good Morning Market Prep, the lunchtime update, and the market wrap, right? So some good stuff there. Yeah, and AMC too. I know another, yeah, exactly. AMC's at least, I mean, come on, like just keep going, right, and do an offering. Let's go. But good stuff there. So be sure to subscribe here on YouTube, and we'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning here on YouTube for the Good Morning Market Prep video, and also in the Twitter, and of course our Bubble Report subscribers and our Discord members. We'll see you also bright and early too. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Stay healthy out there, and remember your risk first and stay safe.